潮町は2012年の国の想定で日本最大の津波に襲われる可能性を指摘されました。これを受け、町の人たちには2つの諦めが生まれてしまいました。1つは避難を諦めて避難しないと言い出すこと、もう1つは危険な町には暮らせないと言って町を出ていくことです。このままではふるさとがダメになってしまう、そうした思いから町づくりを本気で見直しました。避難を諦めないために町ぐるみで避難対策を一生懸命取り組みました。この結果、避難を諦めるという方はいなくなりました。一方で、町で暮らすことを諦めないための対策として新たな雇用の場を作ることにしました。防災に本気で取り組む町として、地元や県内の豊かな食材を生かした非常食を作ろう。それを普段から食べてもらうことで備えにつなげようと考え、缶詰工場を立ち上げました。2014年4月から稼働を始め、現在は移住者を含む新たな雇用の場となっています。多くの方にふるさとの美味しさを届けるため、工場では今日も若者たちが製品作りに励んでいます。
高校生の皆さん、こんにちは。そしてようこそ日本へ。内閣総理大臣の安倍晋三です。昨年12月、国連総会において11月5日を世界津波の日とすることが全会一致で採択されました。本年は世界津波の日元年です。この記念すべき年に世界各地から次世代を担う若者が津波対策を先進的に進めるここ黒潮町に集い、世界津波の日高校生サミットが盛大に開催されますこと、誠に喜ばしく思います。約2万人の犠牲者と甚大な被害をもたらした東日本大震災から5年が過ぎました。被災地の方々の故郷への熱い思いが大きな力となって、復興は一歩一歩着実に前進しています。本日ここにご列席の世界各国の皆様からも多くの温かい支援をいただきました。改めて心より感謝申し上げます。今回のサミットは世界30カ国の高校生が集まり、共通の課題である地震、津波の脅威や防災、減災について学習し、交流する貴重な機会です。我々は東日本大震災から防災教育の重要性や悲しみを乗り越え、希望ある未来を創造していくことの大切さを学びました。この経験を伝え、広めていくこと、これも我が国ができる一つの恩返しであり、この高校生サミット開催の意義であると考えます。ここ高知県黒潮町は南海トラフ地震の津波の高さが最大34メートルと想定されています。まず住民の命を守ることを大原則に、津波避難タワーなどの防災インフラの整備、防災教育の充実、防災関連産業の育成支援など、さまざまな取り組みが進められています。地震、津波に正面から向き合い、しっかり対応していこうとする黒潮町ならではのまちづくりを通じて、自然災害から生き抜くための知恵を分かち合えることを願っています。今から150年以上前、和歌山県の漁村で村のリーダーの起点によって津波から多くの村人の命が救われました。高台にある自らの稲むらに火をつけ、村民に避難を呼びかけたのです。世界津波の日はその逸話に由来しています。高校生の皆さんが将来を担う防災のリーダーとしてグローバルな視野で活躍されることを期待しています。それは次世代にわたりたくさんの尊い命が救われる大きなうねりとなることでしょう。今日ここに集まった若き津波防災大使の皆さんと共に、災害に強いコミュニティ、強靭な国づくりに向け、未来を切り開いていくことを誓いし、私からのご挨拶とさせていただきます。
Now, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, the Secretary General of the United Nations, will give you a few words in his video message.
Dear students, I am pleased to send greetings to your important gathering. November 5th marked the first observance of World Tsunami Awareness Day. This date commemorates the famous Japanese story of Inamura no Hi, when a wise local leader acted to save many lives from an approaching tsunami. You show similar wisdom by bringing together more than 350 students from 30 countries. Tsunamis are rare but deadly. The 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami claimed 227,000 lives. More than 15,000 people died in the Great East Japan earthquake and tsunami, which seriously damaged the Tohoku region in 2011. That August, I visited the tsunami-stricken areas. I was deeply moved and inspired to meet many students at Fukushima Minami High School. They were not fully over the shock, but they showed a strong sense of community. Being aware and prepared is key to survival. In that regard, I highly commend the vision of the Japanese government for organizing the Sendai Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction and adopting its framework. It is important to observe World Tsunami Awareness Day. Each of you should take home the lessons you learned today. Your communities will thank you. I count on you to be leaders who can reduce the risk of future disasters. Thank you. ありがとうございます。
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to Kuroshio-town of Kochi prefecture. My name is Rinka Imamura.
And Ren Imai.
We are from Kochi prefecture Ogata High School. Nice to meet you. We are delighted to be here as MCs on this summit. And we are pleased to declare the opening of the High School Student Summit on World Tsunami Awareness Day in Kuroshio.
First of all, I would like to ask Mr. Masana Ozaki, Governor of Kochi Prefecture, to give us an opening address. Mr. Ozaki, please.
ただいまご紹介をいただきました高知県知事の尾崎正直でございます。世界津波の日高校生サミット、この開催にあたりまして、この総会の開催にあたりまして、皆様方に一言ご挨拶を申し上げたいと、そのように思います。本当に今日は世界各国29カ国から多くの高校生の皆さん、ようこそこの高知県黒潮町までおいでをいただきました。そして日本各地からも多くの高校生においでをいただきました。世界30カ国の若き高校生の皆さんが集って、この高知県において将来の防災についてさまざまな議論が展開をされ、そして皆さん一人一人の中に確固たる思い出が残られたこと、このことは私たち高知県といたしましても本当に喜びとするところであります。本日の高校生サミット開催にあたりまして、本当に多くの皆様方にお世話になりました。世界津波の日を提唱されました自由民主党二階幹事長先生はじめ多くの皆様方、この高知県での世界津波の日高校生サミット開催を決定いただいたこと、本当に心から御礼を申し上げたいと思います。そして松本防災大臣はじめ政府関係者の皆様方、本当に多くの皆様方に助けていただきまして、本日のサミット開催にまで至ることができました。本当にこのサミット開催にあたって、多くの皆様方にご尽力をいただきましたことについて、この場をお借りいたしまして、心から御礼を申し上げたいと、そのように思います。もう多くの皆様はご存知だと思いますけれども、高知県はこれまでの間、この地震に関して、2つの大きなショックを受けました。2011年3月11日、東日本大震災が発生したときに、私たちは明日は我が身だと そのように思います。そして1年後、2012年3月31日に、この高知県全域にわたって沿岸部すべてにおいて10メーター以上の津波が襲ってくるであろうという想定が国によって発表されたところでありました。ご案内のように、この黒潮町においては34メーターという津波が襲ってくるかもしれない、そのような想定がされたところであります。正直なところ、ひるみそうにもなりました。諦めたくもなりました。しかしながら、そうではなくて、何としてもどのような災害であろうとも、県民の皆様方の命を守ろうと、懸命の努力を続けてきた。これがこれまでの5年間の歩みであったと、そのように考えています。具体的な努力を積み重ねてまいりました。避難路、避難場所を県内各地域に1400カ所近く作り、津波避難タワーも100基近く作り、そして何よりもその施設を利用して様々な形での避難訓練を積み重ねて、今日まで努力を重ねてまいりました。そして単に津波から逃れるだけではなくて、その後どうやって命をつないでいくのか、そのために避難所の在り方はどうか、どのように支援物資を現地に届けていくのか、などなど多くの検討を積み重ねてまいったところです。今日おいでの世界各国の皆様方の母国においても、それぞれ防災・減災のための取り組みを必死に続けておられることと思います。私たち高知県での経験を、黒潮町での経験を皆様方ぜひ学んでいただいて、皆様方の防災・減災に生かしていただきたいと考えますし、また皆様方のそれぞれの国における経験を私たちも学ばさせていただいて、私たちの防災・減災のための取り組みに生かしていきたいと、そのように考えているところです。この総会において、高校生の皆様方、この議論の成果を生かして黒潮宣言が行われることとなります。この黒潮宣言は、ある意味このサミットの終わりを飾る宣言ということになるんでしょうけれども、しかしながら皆様方がこれから生涯にわたって続けていくであろう防災・減災のための取り組みのスタートとなるものでもあると、そのように考えています。若き津波防災大使として皆様方それぞれが今後それぞれの国において防災・減災の取り組みを大いに進められ、それによって一人でも多くの皆様方の命が救われることを本当に心から願っているところです。残念ながら災害から逃れることはできません。しかしながら災害から人の命を救うことは可能です。そしてそれを成し遂げるのは人の力であります。若き津波防災大使として皆様方がそれぞれの国において防災・減災の取り組みを広め、そして具体的な努力を積み重ねられ、結果として来たるべき災害から皆様方の国の多くの人たちが救われる、その時が来ますことを本当に心から願ってやまないところであります。改めまして本日のこの世界津波の日高校生サミット、世界津波の日元年といえるこの年に高知県でこの高校生サミットが開催をされましたことについて、改めて多くの関係者の皆様方に心から感謝を申し上げ、世界中からおいでいただいた高校生の皆さんにも心から感謝を申し上げまして、私のご挨拶とさせていただきます。皆さん本当にこの度はありがとうございました。
Thank you very much, Mr. Ozaki. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Jun Matsumoto. He is a minister in charge of building national resilience and Minister of State for Disaster Management. Mr. Matsumoto, please.
私は防災及び国土強靭化担当大臣として一言ご挨拶を申し上げます。世界津波の日高校生サミットのご盛会を心からお喜び申し上げます。本サミットの開催にご尽力いただきました主催者の高知県の尾崎知事、黒潮町の大西町長をはじめ、自民党の二階幹事長、各国大使、国連国際防災戦略事務局、経済協力開発機構、日本中国友好協会、その他、関係の皆様に心より敬意を表する次第であります。さて、本日お集まりの高校生の皆さんは、ここに黒潮町に来るまでに、半分の方は東日本大震災を経験した東北を、半分の方は稲むらの火の逸話が残る和歌山県を訪問したと伺っております。これらの地で視察や交流を通して、日本が津波災害から得てきた知見や経験を学ばれたことと存じます。こうした津波災害の教訓を胸に、昨年12月には二階幹事長や有志の国会議員からの働きかけに応じていただいた各国大使よりご尽力を賜り、日本を含む142カ国が世界津波の日の制定を共同提案し、国連総会で全会一致で採択されました。世界津波の日の制定は人類にとっての成果であり、この成果のもと、世界各国からここ黒潮町に高校生が集まり、本サミットが開催されたことは大変意義深いことと存じます。高校生の皆さん、ご列席の皆様とともに、本サミットを通じて学んだことをベースに、防災の重要性を広めていただき、世界において国土強靭化が進展していくことを記念申し上げ、私の挨拶とさせていただきます。ご盛会誠におめでとうございました。
Thank you very much, Mr. Matsumoto. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Toshihiro Nikai. He is Secretary General of Liberal Democratic Party of Japan, member of House of Representatives. He is an advocate of the High School Student Summit on World Tsunami Awareness Day in Kuroshio. Mr. Nikai, please.
世界津波の日高校生サミットの成功に向けてご努力をいただきました多くの皆さんに対して心から感謝を申し上げます。私は自由民主党幹事長の衆議院議員の二階俊博であります。私はかねてよりもう5年ぐらい前からこの津波防災の問題に取り組んでまいりましたが、これは地球規模で世界中の皆さんのご協力を得なければ成功しない、こう判断し、世界津波の日の制定について努力を重ねてまいりましたが、東京に駐在されております世界各国の大使の皆さんも大変協力をしていただきました。そして 世界中の各機関からもご支援をいただきました。私は一人でも多くの尊い命を自然災害から守ることは、我々政治を担当する者だけではなくて、多くの世界の良識ある指導者の皆さんの同じ願いであろうと、私は判断をしておりました。自然災害は我々人類が対決していかなくてはならない、立ち向かっていかなければならない大きな課題であります。これを我々は後世に伝えて、ご一緒にこの使命の達成に努力をしようではありませんかということを申し上げたいのであります。先ほど安倍内閣総理大臣からのメッセージの中でも紹介がありましたが、稲むらの日という浜口御陵という本当に想像を超えるような偉大な人物の出現によって多くの命を助けることができました。150年ほど前の話であります。我々はこのことを広く世界の皆さんにもお伝えしてご一緒にやっていかなきゃいけない。11月5日を世界津波の日と、まず最初に日本で法律で津波の日をその日に制定をいたしました。そして各国の皆さんのご理解やご協力をお願いして、我々はこれを世界津波の日制定に対してお願いし、呼びかけ努力をしてまいりました。そしてついに先ほどからお話のありました通り、国連におきまして我々の提案が全会一致でこれを受け入れていただき、成立させることができました。私たちは国連でこれが採択されたということは大変な喜びでありますが、これは国連で採択されただけで終わってはなりません。我々は世界の皆さんと、今日おいでをいただいております世界各国の将来ある高校生の皆さんとも一緒に手を組んで、手を携えて、世界の多くの国民の皆さんが自然災害によって尊い命を失うことのないようにするためには、地球上すべての国民の皆さんが総立ちになって津波防災と立ち向かわなければならない。津波の猛威、津波の威力、皆さんはすでにいろんなところでこの体験をしたり、あるいはこの会場の玄関でもその実験が行われておったと思います。しかしそうしたことに対して今や多くの皆さんがこれに対してだんだんと理解をしてくれるに至っております。今日こうして多くの国々の皆さんがここ高知県にお集まりをいただきまして、黒潮町にお集まりをいただき、一緒になってこれからの人類の幸せのために津波防災と戦うための決意を共有し合おうと、こういうことであります。今日ご指摘の中でも、私は海外出張中に例えばベトナムの皆さん、チリの皆さん、そして この仲間の皆さんと、この人たちが今度日本においでになるんだということをご紹介いただき、大変久しくご挨拶をさせていただいたことを覚えております。ですから今日の日を楽しみにしておりました。そして今日こうしてお伺いするに至って、私は昨日安倍総理とも約1時間いろんな問題で話し合うために、この世界津波の日のことについて総理とも話し合いました。総理も今のメッセージの内容を改めてお話しされながら、強い決意を持って世界津波の日の世界中にこれが伝わっていくようにお互いに努力しようということを昨日私は約束をしてきた次第であります。どうか皆さん、一人や二人の人だけの力ではどうにもなりません。多くの各国の国民の皆さんのお力をいただいて、私たちの地球上の仲間が悲しい自然災害に打ち負かされるようなことがないように、みんなで努力しようではありませんか。今日おいでいただいたこの世界の高校生、私は若き防災の大使だということを呼んでおりますが、最初はそんなことを呼ぶ者は何人かしかありませんでしたが、この頃は皆さんのことを世界防災大使と呼んでおりますから、皆さんはもう今日から大使としてのご活躍、国に帰ったらお仲間の皆さんに教室で、あるいは学校のいろんな場面でこの日本での経験を話していただいて、そして多くの人を災害から救うと、その強い決意をお願いしたいのであります。わざわざ遠いところから日本にお越しをいただいた本当の意味での若き大使の皆さんの将来のご成功、ご繁栄を心からお祈りをし、またこれは付け加えて申し上げるわけでありますが、将来日本においでになってまた学校へ行く、あるいは就職をする、そういう希望がおありの皆さんは、どうぞ今回の事務局や関連したお友達にその決意を述べて、我々の校としてはできるだけそれを受け入れる、そして友情を続けていこうではないかということを最後に申し上げて、私からのご挨拶を終わります。ありがとうございました。
Thank you very much, Mr. Nikai.
Next, we move on to a reporting session. 3 students from Miyagi Prefecture will share the story of areas devastated by a powerful earthquake and tsunami in 2011. They are Mr. Naita Gambe and Ms. Honoka Tsuda from Miyagi Prefecture Ishinomaki High School, and Ms. Akane Aizawa from Miyagi Prefecture Ishinomaki Nishi High School. 5 years ago, the Great East Japan earthquake and tsunami struck Miyagi Prefecture, causing a severe damage.
Hello, everyone. Today, we three storytellers will report about the East Japan Great Earthquake disaster. Based on our experiences of the disaster and our emotions at that time, we will touch that we learned from the disaster and what we learned should do to prevent disasters. First of all, we will briefly introduce the city where we live and ourselves.
We are living in Higashimatsushima City, Miyagi Prefecture. In Higashimatsushima City, 1,110 people died. Then 24 people are missing because of the disaster. Among the houses built in the city, 97% of them were damaged or totally destroyed. When the earthquake occurred, we were in the 5th grade of elementary school. Now, we are storytellers, but in fact we kept trying to forget the earthquake disaster until 2 years ago. Because the sight we saw in the earthquake and what we experienced were flashbacks. Sometimes we suffered from hypertension, and sometimes we didn't understand the meaning of our life. The reason we start storytelling is that when we participated in the symposium held in 2015, we could finally face the disaster and be able to grasp its possibility.
Look at this sentence to give important information that could save people's lives by telling our disaster experience. This is what a high school student we met said then. This what led three of us decide to become a storyteller.
Now, we'd like to tell you a few stories about our experiences. The topics of our three are a little bit different each other. My topic is a witness of tsunami. Honoka's topic is her actions. And Akane's topic is her feelings. We will talk about our tsunami experience and our school life after that, one by one. First of all, I will tell you about my experience of the disaster. Please look at this photo. 5 years ago, I was an elementary school student and I went to Omagari Elementary School with a blue circle. It is approximately 2.3 kilometers away from the sea. This school was pretty near the sea. March 11, 2011, 2:46 p.m., I was hit by an unbelievable shake during the class at the gym. At this time, ceiling of the gym block, ceiling plates, and big metal fittings came down to me and my classmates. But it is difficult to stand in the shake, and I couldn't move from that place by myself. The shake of the strong seismic intensity lasted for about 5 minutes. All my classmates were shocked and started to cry. There is no choice in fear. However, including me, more than half of the children laughed out loudly in the middle of shaking. I still don't know why. Since the shaking began to settle down, we went outside the gym and evacuated individually. I returned home, but I evacuated to my primary school again, because I heard the tsunami information from the radio when I got home. And when I evacuated to my school again, the gym where I had been before turned into a shelter. However, information on the tsunami entered the school, and we decided to evacuate to our school building. I evacuated to this green circle part. However, here I made some action. Glass pieces and iron nails stuck to my shoes, and my feet were full of blood. So, I decided to change them into new ones that I had just bought and headed for the entrance alone. There, I saw 5 people swept away. In fact, I just stood by rather than witnessed them. When I took the new outside shoes, I saw 5 people heading for me. However, the entrance was locked and they couldn't enter from the outside. I opened the key and waited for them. A very small tsunami was coming behind them. It had small momentum, like water from a faucet. Now they are safe, I thought, when I was relieved. A stream of water, like fresh blood, struck them from the left side of the screen. It happened in the blink of an eye. They were carried off their fate and turned by the tsunami. I couldn't forget that they continued to extend their hands to me until they were swept by the waves and couldn't be seen. As for me, thanks to this faucet wall and the step of just 30 centimeters high, I was able to enter the school again. While immersing in the tsunami, my anchor, I survived. The tsunami finally increased its depth to nearly 2 meters. I will skip a little time and continue talking. 3 days later, when the waves came to calm down, I went to the entrance where they were swept away. Then, I found their bodies lying on a hinge rod 50 meters away. I saw their last figures before they disappeared, and it was I that first found them after they disappeared. I will not be able to forget this experience for the rest of my life. Moreover, around them, there were quite a few bodies, some of which had only arms and legs. Now, we will move on to the next episode and let Honoka talk about her school life.
On that day, I quickly fled to inner area. So, I didn't see tsunami coming. But there was nothing less of my house after the tsunami swept everything away. I realized some things would never go back to normal. Our school started on April 21st, 2011. But the situation of our school was not improving, but rather getting worse day by day. That was because many students were stressed out because of the earthquake, and perhaps the only place where we could blow off our frustration was our school. One day, one of my classmates was talking about disaster jokingly. I got really upset about it, and I threw a desk in our classroom toward him. I was surprised that I myself did such a thing. I couldn't tell this to my friends nor my parents because I knew that would make them sad. So I wrote this experience down and sent it to one of my favorite manga artists. Then he sent a card back to me, which said, "Don't give in to your situation, Honoka," as well as some of manga goods I had been collecting. This miracle helped me recover from the hard situation. After I became a ninth grader, I had a chance to listen to Nelda and other people's storytelling about the disaster. Then, I decided to be a storyteller too, in order to let many people know about my experience. It has been 5 years since I lost my friend, my house, and my daily life. Now, I can't clearly remember the house I have lived in for over 10 years. I feel very sad and lonely. I noticed that I had realized how important my daily life was, but I didn't know how to remember it because my picture and my videotapes were lost in the tsunami. I can only live my life because I can't take back the past. So I have talked about my experience with my friends at many places. By talking to many people, I hope I can help others with their regret. I think we are quite dependent on recording media. Please imagine, what would you do if your recording media were lost? I want to tell you, please keep in mind how precious your daily lives are and your face-to-face communicate is with people around you. So, I want you to read your memory in your mind. That's what I should have done before the disaster. Next, Akane will talk about how she recovered from the disaster mentally.
I sometimes laugh when I tell my experience. You may feel uncomfortably, but if I try to put up with laughing, I can't help crying, and I can't say anything. I want you to know that and listen to my speech. I lost a lot because of tsunami. My house, my memories, and my best friend. After I knew about my best friend's death, I had begun to mope little by little. In addition, I come to think about all things negatively, and I had been thinking so for a long time. In the latter half of junior high school days, I changed much and started to think positively. In summer vacation, when I was a ninth grader, I had a chance to communicate with junior high school students in Mie prefecture. I casually joined it. I met a girl who lived near the sea. She anxiously asked me, "Are you scared of the sea?" I answered, "No." And she seemed to feel relieved. Some people feel anxious about the disaster of earthquake and tsunami. I thought I might be able to make them relieved by telling them my experience. My best friend's death could help a lot of lives. I was able to regard the earthquake as a positive thing. I could find the way to change her death into a meaningful thing. I said I had come to control myself. When I was in the latter half of junior high school days, I might have needed time simply. I was able to control myself by talking with friends and by joining some events for prevention of disaster. But I am on my way to do it. I think there are a lot of people that live with trouble and can't take about it, like what I used to be. Our daily lives are recovering little by little, but the revival of our hearts needs more time. I think it needs more time than the revival of our daily lives. I will never say our revival has completed until the revival of our hearts completes. I'm telling a story to recover my heart now. I can control myself, and my best friend's death is not meaningless. Finally, I'll tell you what I want you to remember forever. I want to tell it to you, particularly to people of the same generation. We must live however hard our situation is. It is natural
for us to want to die like me. When what we can't imagine happens in our daily lives, we have many programs. It is hard to live with programs, but I could experience many things. I could get a lot of good things. We can't do anything if we die. Our lives are not only hard. I will live with my best friend in my heart.
So, from now on, three of us will summarize what we want to know. We will point out three things about what to know and countermeasures. Maybe everyone has already noticed, but in our experience, there are some situations we could have prevented if we had known the danger of tsunami. Would we have come back home? Had we stayed there when we saw tsunami coming? No. So what should we have there? The first summary is disaster prevention education. What kind of area do you live in? What kind of disaster have happened in the past? What kind of disaster are expected in the future? How can you protect yourself? Learning these kinds of things is disaster prevention education. Actually, in the case of the Great East Japan earthquake, many people survived well. They have already practiced disaster education before the earthquake.
The second summary is to live between one disaster to the next. We live our daily lives peacefully now, but actually, we are heading for the next disaster. A period between one disaster to the next is very important. For example, we can think of such a cycle. A disaster occurs, and we rebuild our towns, and then we carry out disaster prevention education to prepare for the next disaster. We can take in what we learned from the past disasters during the safe period and learn to protect our lives. I will present a concrete example. This is a plate that shows the height at which the tsunami came. By visually showing it all at the time, even those who don't know the former disaster can have a consciousness of we are in dangerous place.
The third summary is that every place considered not to be a disaster area is a disaster area. There are no safe places absolutely free from disasters all over the world. In other words, a disaster hasn't come yet, but one day it will surely come. You should always keep in mind that the place you are living in now will be a disaster area. Well, what have we learned from the Great East Japan earthquake? Building high embankments, construction of the evacuation towers? Wrong. After all, no matter how good the evacuation facilities may be made, and no matter how splendid embankments may be built, if we do not have the consciousness to survive, disaster prevention does not hold. Disaster prevention is matter of our consciousness, and our consciousness is directly connected to our lives.
Here is a message from us, storytellers, to you, youth ambassadors. I would like you to tell our experiences and ways of thinking to people in your home country. And I want you to consider once again, what disaster risks are there in your home country? How can you avoid that disaster? If our experiences and ways of thinking are a good help to you in your future, nothing else would make us happier. Finally, here is what we would like to tell you. Here in Japan, big disasters happen almost every year. And every time they do, we receive a kind support from other countries, as we did 5 years ago. This includes support for recovery of hospitals, schools, and our daily lives, as well as heart-warming encouragements. We will never forget this. We would like to thank all of you and people around the world. We really appreciate it. We promise, when a disaster happens in your home country, we will do whatever we can to help you. Now we are friends, nakama. We can learn from past disasters and make a better future. And now is a time when our generation must play a major role in supporting our country and people. This. Talking about the day means talking about our future. That's all for our presentation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Now, let us move on to the workshop presentation. Fellow presenters of the outcome of the discussion on understanding of the risks of natural disasters, Group A1, A2, B1, B2. Would you please come up to the stage?
We were divided into 3 field groups to discuss under the overall theme of what we, who are responsible for the next generation, can do to survive natural disasters from the perspectives of self-help, mutual assistance, and public assistance. The first group focused on understanding of the risk of natural disasters. The second group discussed preparation for natural disasters. And the last group talked about recovery and reconstruction from the damages caused by natural disasters. Each field group is divided into 4 subgroups, so we have a total of 12 small groups. Each of the subgroups has talked to make up its own action plan to be announced in the general meeting. They will make a presentation from now. First, the groups who discussed understanding of the risk of natural disasters will give a presentation. Group A1, would you please start now?
Thank you, everyone. I'm David, and I am the presenter for the A1 group. During our workshop discussion, we came up with 4 measures that represent our own action plan. Our group is constituted by the Maldives, Sri Lanka, Fiji, Portugal, and of course, Japan. Our first measure is the education of the masses throughout the use of technological means that are available to us in the 21st century. But this has to be done in a way that they learn before the actual event happens, so that they do not need the technology during a seismic event and a tsunami. Now, there is a very important challenge that appears when you talk about this, which is countries that do not have the same access to technology as countries like Japan do. But the goal of this is so that everyone knows what may happen in the event of a catastrophe, and what needs to be done in case it happens. For a second measure, this comes especially towards students who are attending this summit, because 3 days ago, Japan experienced an earthquake, and most of us got a phone call, and we didn't really understand what was going on. The warnings in Japan are amazing, but they're not really helpful to tourists. And this is why there is a need for an internationalization of the automatic warning systems, in a way that every tourist in every country can understand what the warning means to them and what they need to do. The biggest challenge of this is that there needs to be international and universal symbols and languages so that everyone can understand the same thing. But the main goal of this is that every tourist may feel safe, and everyone may feel safe both in their homes and wherever country they are. Our third topic comes specifically from the Maldives, because they are a country with a natural height of a maximum of 1.2 meters, and the soils are not hard enough to build rescue towers from tsunamis, and therefore they have nowhere to run in the event of an actual tsunami coming. The solution comes from the representatives from the Fiji Islands, who themselves have implanted mangroves in a way to tighten the soils and to create a natural barrier to the tsunamis. And this is something that has to be done in countries, and it is incredibly important for countries where they have nowhere to escape to, and therefore the only solution for tsunamis is to mitigate the damage that they might cause. And the solution comes from, as I said, Fiji, who themselves have planted, and they showed us in the workshop, themselves have planted the trees that will help mitigate the damage. Finally, I think that the most important topic is the promotion of communication between countries that have experienced tsunamis and disasters and countries that have not, or have not in ages. And I think that the talks we had from the storytellers, They're incredibly important because it means that every country and everyone attending this learns some personal experience from them. And these incredibly touching stories, they are what as we learn, we are the ones who will help other countries. We are the ones who will do everything we can. And listening to these stories firsthand is very important for us to understand what exactly happens. And this is why I believe that myself and everyone standing here is incredibly grateful to be, and it's such an honor to be here, standing here in this very summit. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next group, A2, please.
Hello, I'm Hana from Japan. I'm going to come here to represent Group A2. What will you do if a tsunami or an earthquake came at this time right here, right now? I know that I should get to the ground, protect my head, and after the shaking finishes, to run as fast as I can to higher grounds. Because of the drill we did today, I know what to do. But how about people who don't know what to do? How can we help them? This was our main theme. In our group, one thing that we found common between participants from different countries and different provinces is that student participation for country awareness is the key. From our Philippine friends, we heard that they can go teach smaller children from different schools more about natural disasters and preparedness. Our friends from Okayama, Japan, had an action plan for making newsletters and alert systems for the community. Our friends from Kwansum, China, said that having drills for national disasters and school speeches and homework related to disaster and risk reduction can help people become more prepared for these events. And from Kenya, we learned the threats of all kinds of natural disasters. We also learned that there are ways to do researches for natural disasters by us high school students from our friends from Sendai. From these suggestions, we made our group's action plan. Our action plan is to make a community that has schools at its center for disaster and risk reduction education. Schools will first educate their children the risks. And for the communities, schools can keep supplies for emergencies, and students can create handouts for the community to teach what to do when an earthquake, some kind of natural disaster, comes. I think that it is important to make good relationships between high school students and the community because it will play a very important role at the times of emergencies. I hope that us high school students can get together to help each of our countries and someday make a world a stronger place against natural emergencies and disasters. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next group, B1, please.
Hello everyone, I'm Chang-seok from Korea, the presenter of Team B1 from Malaysia, Myanmar, China, Japan, and Republic of Korea. Before I present, it is a great honor for me to present in front of all these talented students from all over the world. And I want to show my appreciation towards the holder of this event, World Tsunami Awareness Day. Then let me begin my presentation from now on. The main concept of my team group was the basic understanding of nature disasters. So we came up with some creative ideas to be prepared for the nature disasters. And through this group meeting, we found some ways to prepare for the tsunami properly. So then let me introduce our ideas. First, Kumo High School students from Korea did some experiments to find out some scientific evidence of characteristics of tsunami. We did some experiments to find out the relation between the frequency of the wave and the velocity of the wave. And we also had some experiments to find out the tsunami has a long wavelength and a large amount of water flux, so it is why tsunami is really dangerous. And the Furukawa Reimei High School students from Japan did experiment on reducing the damage of tsunami to the buildings. They changed the position of the buildings so that the pressure of tsunami to buildings would be reduced. And other students from other nations came up with some action plans that students can take. First, Hainan Overseas Chinese Middle School students from China suggested the knowledge of tsunami prevention and mitigation should be popularized among the communities and schools. And the students from Myanmar suggested to disseminate the information regarding means of protection, preparedness, and mitigation. And they also suggest to organize the drawing essay, writing, cartoons, and article competition in partnership community-based organizations. And Joan High School students from Japan suggested to learn the knowledges of their ancestors. And Yokohama Science Frontier High School students from Japan suggest that people should be equipped with some proper knowledge of tsunami to be prepared for it. And the students from Furukawa Reimei High School students from Japan suggest to build more evacuation towers to be so that the people would be able to escape right after the tsunami being occurred. To sum up, the students have to be equipped with some adequate knowledge of tsunami to be prepared for it properly. Knowledge is power. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next group B2, please.
Hello, my name is Benjamin Pappas and I'm from the United States representing Group B2. Our group included Kesunuma and Osaka and Tosajuku High School of Japan, China, Indonesia, and the United States. Kesunuma High spoke about minimizing damage from tsunamis and educating people to react to tsunamis. Osaka High School talked about creating a joint tourist map that shows evacuation routes and creating an app for tourists. Tosajuku High School in Kochi talked about preparing beforehand, identifying locations, securing furniture, and acting accordingly. China talked about a tsunami plan to pay attention to media, strengthen ties with countries, and establish mangrove forests and unite together as a human race. Indonesia talked about a two-step action plan, simulation of tsunamis and earthquakes, and socialization. The United States talked about educating senior citizens alongside their recreational activities and utilizing NGSS, Next Generation Science Standards, to implement education about natural disasters and its risks. Looking at all of these presentations, we have come to the conclusion that around the world, natural disasters are unavoidable. Together, we must unite as countries to strengthen connections to raise awareness, communication, and knowledge of natural disasters. Educating people, creating maps of evacuation sites, and simulating evacuations will better help to prepare people and decrease the amount of damage and loss. Through government action and cooperation of all people, we can be better prepared for a future that is unknown. Thank you.
Now the presentation from the field, understanding of the risk of natural disasters, have finished. Thank you very much. Fellow presenters, please leave the stage. Secondly, the presenters of Group A3, A4, B3, B4, who present about preparation for natural disasters, would you please come up to the stage?
Now, the second group who discussed preparations for natural disasters will give presentation. Group A3, please begin.
こんにちは。私の名前はRuthです。I'm from Micronesia, representing the age group with the students of China, Japan, and Papua New Guinea, known as Sosencha. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for everything we had so far, for every knowledge we gained, and for every beautiful places we visit. Before I commence my presentation, I would like to say that it's such an honor to be a part of this special event. Our topic is about preparation for natural disaster. Well, there are several ways that could be undertaken or carried out by schools, individuals, government, communities, companies, or households. As an individuals or as students, you should conduct or teach younger kids and others about tsunamis and also put up signs. We should create a class about tsunami only in school so that students would know more and more about tsunamis and what to do during that time. People who experience a tsunami must be interviewed in order to gather information and share with others. We should create and download evacuation map, for it is the easiest way to help us during the first warning of tsunami. Setting similar system is also a very productive way to warn people. All in all, there is this thing called GRISP, C-R-I-S-P. C stands for cash, R for reserves, I for insurance, S for standards, and B for plans. GRISP sum up every plans we've learned during our discussion, and we believe that it will prepare us for our future life. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next, please deliver your presentation, Group A4.
Hello, I'm Hannah, A4. At our workshop, the following 6 action plans were presented. Iwate, by using tsunami models, they want to raise the level of crisis awareness by getting schools all over Japan to carry out activities aimed at raising awareness of disaster risk reduction and tsunamis, and to protect our own communities. Fukushima, they want to distribute hazard maps to local residents. Osaka wants to listen to experiences of people who actually survived. Samoa, they want to talk about experience that they did. Greece, they want to establish a school disaster safety team. And Vietnam, they want to organize international summit to share experience in making preparations and coping with natural disasters. We decided our following 4 points as our shared matters in implementing each action plan. The first plan is making models they want to demonstrations of the tsunami. Second, we need to make a safety team to conduct awareness activities and prepare drill evacuation exercise. 3. Conducting fundraising for small village. 4. We global citizens should promote critical thinking, problem solving, enhance social and emotional life skills to deal with natural disasters and support other people in the communities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, please deliver your presentation, Group B3.
Hello everyone, my name is Chae Sang-hyun and I'm from Kumo High School, Republic of Korea. I am the presenter of Group B3. It is a great honor to be part of this summit on behalf of my country. I hope that we could make a difference by the end of our summit. Let me tell you what we discussed during our group presentation. We focused on what we could do as students against these natural disasters, not just the tsunami waves, but including typhoons, floods, and lots of other natural disasters that can harm people all around the world. We decided to divide the roles of the students into three ways. The first one is what we could do as students before the natural disasters happen. And the second is what we could do as students during the natural disasters actually happening. And the last one is what role should the students play after the natural disasters has struck the land. Before the natural disasters happening, we students can come up with creative ideas that can help reduce the damage of the natural disasters. Japan has come up with a creative idea of seasoning the disaster preparation foods in order for nutrition and taste. And our country, Korea, has come up with a scientific method of enhancing the effectiveness of our tetrapods by increasing the friction of it and thus reducing the damage of the tsunami waves itself. Other nations has also come up with lots of useful ideas. One of them was creating a smartphone application to provide people about the information of evacuation sites. During the natural disasters actually happening, we students can devote by creating funds to give donations to the people in need. And we can also help the people evacuate from the danger areas, especially the disabled, and the elderly. After the natural disasters actually happening, we can conduct field trips to the areas where the disasters have actually struck, and we can also inform the social media to constantly remind the people of the dangers of the natural disasters. This may seem like a very small step because we are just high school students, but if we actively take part in society into helping us become more prepared against these natural disasters, this small step will be a huge leap for our generation and for the future generation as well. Hoping that our world will be a much more safer place from these natural disasters, I end my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next, please deliver your presentation, Group B4.
Hello, everyone. My name is Togum Cholo. I'm the speaker of B4, which included China, Japan, Turkey, and Marshall Islands. Today, I'm going to be talking about what we concluded in our discussion earlier today. We took a look at the preparations for natural disasters and what we could do to avoid casualties in natural disasters. Firstly, presentations were held to suggest solutions to the ongoing problems in many different countries. The presentations tackled their own problems with solutions that were unique to each presentation. Some of these unique solutions were, for example, chairs used as emergency toilets, using a bag, or organizing events that spread awareness, which are aimed to attract teenagers. The action plans were, there were a lot of action plans, so I'm going to summarize the most important ones that stood out. One of the action plans suggested that, again, as I just stated, making events like using famous musicians as a way to attract teenagers to, be more aware of natural disasters. One action plan stated that one action plan stated that people. These unique solutions I just talked about all fall under one umbrella: spreading awareness or having equipment ready for a natural disaster. We came to conclude that these solutions are all lead to the same thing, which we came to conclude that these solutions were all acceptable, and we should work on picking the most efficient ones. Thank you for listening.
Now, the presentations from the field, preparations for natural disasters, have finished. Thank you very much. Fellow presenters, please leave the stage. Lastly, the presenters of Group A5, A6, B5, B6, who present about recovery and reconstruction from the damages by natural disasters. Please come up to the stage.
Now, the last groups who discussed about recovery and reconstruction from the damages by natural disasters will give presentations. Group A5, please begin.
Good afternoon. My name is Tamara Mesa. I'm from Chile, and I represent Group A5. During our workshop, each country represents interesting ideas about recovery and reconstruction after a disaster. After that, we discussed them and chose main ideas and feels like raising public awareness, psychological recovery for survivors, improvement and reconstruction. For example, first, Candle Project. In order to prevent the weakening of people's memories and to more victims, students can organize a memorial ceremony of lighting candle on November 5th. Second, Our Game. This is a game that simulates the experience of overseeing an evacuation shelter following a disaster. The game allows players to consider how to respond to various circumstances that arise in an evacuation. Third, participation in communities. It contains giving lectures in communities and summer camp for children, etc. 4. Leaflet. The Liver Disaster Reduction, a newsletter once every 2 weeks in an effort to raise awareness of disaster risk reduction. We plan to publish articles which provide our answer to questions of this topic collected from students and also create a version for general public. Fifth, cleaning up. Students can participate in cleaning up guided by students, unions, or local communities. We think these ideas can help our communities to improve their emergency plan and save more lives in case of a disaster. That's why we decided to carry them out in the near future, as we are responsible to work for future generations. As it was mentioned in our group, we are one. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, please deliver your presentation, Group A6.
Hello everyone, my name is Kotaro Minamiguchi and I'll be representing the group A6. In our workshop, following 6 action plans were presented. Firstly, Koryo High School proposed to create a nationwide organization of high schools for disaster relief, as well as a system where national secretariats and prefectural offices can communicate and cooperate to make sure that quick and correct decisions can be made after the disaster. Sending International School proposed to make a town for the victims prior to the disaster so that they do not have to wait in the uncomfortable, stressful environment before getting to their new home. Thailand has presented the importance of raising public awareness to disasters and the significance of making a workable prediction and warning system to prepare for the tsunami. Indonesia has proposed an idea to simulate and learn from the past so that we have an idea on how to react after the tsunami. They have also discussed about the importance of international cooperation in case of a disaster. Cambodia has presented a plan that gathers and creates a volunteer team for shelter providing and food and water providing and etc. Palau has proposed an idea which the students and youth clubs can take a big role in recovery by volunteering, and also a plan where the government will be responsible of assisting groups and organizations for recovery. Out of these ideas, we decided the following 3 points as our shared matters. First, we've come to an agreement that although our topic is recovery from the disaster, it is really important to make a guideline beforehand on how to react and recover from the disaster. Second of all, we said that it is really important that the governments and other associations have the ability to follow those guidelines made. And at last but not least, we've all had in common that contributions from the high school students are inevitable. Whether it's representing other people's idea or contributing to the society through volunteer works, we've decided that it's important, and those 3 points are what we as our shared matters to make a better future as the next generation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next, please deliver your presentation, Group B5.
Hello, I'm Ashoka Chikara, presenter of Group B5. I really enjoy listening to other groups' summaries and stories. Now, let me explain ours. Shizugawa Senior High School, Japan, introduced what they do at school as a disaster risk education. And the problem is that it's done 3 times every year. And they hope to change. And they hope to change awareness of disaster. That means we should protect not only ourselves but also others. Kobe University Secondary School. They do exchange with local schools. The most importantly, the major basis for building a community to promote reconstruction after the disaster. And our school, Kochi Nisei Senior High School, we explain the importance of food self-sufficient after tsunami. And proposed a plan which utilized abundant farmland in elevated location. And a team from Peru had a suggestion: lack of education about each region. The education is the most important in their civil defense plan. Team from Malaysia. Earthquake rarely occurs in Malaysia. They have a few things to worry about. What should we do? Where should we escape? So they propose 3 R's: relief, rehabilitate, and rebuilding for many people to survive. Team from Singapore. Their presentation was about measures against haze. Now, many people misunderstand about air pollution. So, through education, we can lead people correctly. This engages youth to take more initiative in providing efficient response. We have learned about what we can do as high school students to achieve our goals and to contribute to the reconstruction of affected disaster areas. We shared 4 action plans. Number 1, sound alarm to escape. Number 2, action card game which educates school children. Number 3, the power of education. Number 4, SNS group for sharing. We've already built some SNS like Twitters, Facebook, and Instagrams. We'll invite all of you to participate in our groups to make strong bond and long-lasting relationship. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next, please deliver presentation, Group B6.
Hello, I'm Nanami Nakamura from Ritsumeikan High School. I'm the presenter of Group B6. First, I'd like to introduce some action plans we shared in our discussion. From Japan, we shared the importance of environment engineering. Also, we noticed we can support people's mental health in the affected area by visiting and having communication with them. From China, they mentioned learning skills to help people with physical injuries is the most important. From Brunei, they introduced the activities of their natural disaster relief club. From Tonga, they mentioned about the importance of our leadership for enforcing public awareness. From Chile, they focused on sustainable volunteering work. Next, we discussed about what we can do as high school students. At last, we put the priority to these three things. First, to enforce public awareness, it is important to share our opinions through social network service. And we had an idea of competition of creating videos. Second, we need knowledge about natural disasters and about how to save lives or help injured people. It is important to have the knowledge not only individually but also as a community. If we have the knowledge, we can be aware of the disasters more. Third, psychological support is really important. After the disaster, people are so depressed and stressed out that they can't achieve reconstruction or recovery. For psychological support, the first thing we have to do is self-recovery. We have to stay calm. Then we need to contact with people damaged. We can use SNS to do it. And we can participate in counseling activities to give happiness by our smile or communication. To achieve this, we have to cooperate with NGOs, other people, schools, and countries. That's all. Thank you very much.
Now all presentations have been done. Thank you very much for your great effort. Fellow presenters, please leave the stage.
We have been putting utmost effort into preparing for the presentations among subgroups to deliver in the general meeting. At the same time, we have cooperated together and formed the Kuroshio Declaration to be adopted. In addition to this, each group has just presented its action plan at this general meeting. We believe that all of the action plans are appropriate for the declaration, and we are certain that the implementation of these action plans will lead to achieving fulfillment of Kuroshio Declaration. Now, we would like to read out Kuroshio Declaration followed by the adoption.
The Kuroshio Declaration. To commemorate the establishment of World Tsunami Awareness Day, the United Nations General Assembly, for the past 2 days, on 25th and 26th of November 2016, we have gathered at Kuroshio-town, Kochi, which is predicted to suffer from significant damage by a devastating tsunami the Nankai Trust earthquake may cause. Natural hazards bring severe damage across the world, and many people face having to recover their communities as a result. Although the diversities in countries and regions we live in may create differences in disasters caused by natural hazards we face and our approaches to disaster risk reduction, we all share the common goal of saving all human lives from disasters. Today, as high school students from around the world, we have learned about what we should and can do to achieve our goal and to contribute to recovery of disaster-affected areas. We hereby declare that we will continue to make our best effort to understand the risks and effects of tsunamis, to pass on to our predecessors' experiences and knowledge of disaster mitigation and risk reduction to future generations, and most importantly, to save people's lives from tsunamis and other hazards. 1. We will learn. we will obtain correct knowledge on mechanism of natural hazards and the history of damages and disasters, so that we can enhance our understanding of natural hazards and their risks. We will learn and study knowledge, skills, and actions that are useful for disaster risk reduction to save people's lives. We will learn how to face hazards and how to live our lives from people who have experienced such disasters. We will learn utilize technology to enhance our learning. 2. We will take actions. We will keep reminding people of the risk of disasters caused by natural hazards and constantly carry out educational activities to raise people's awarenesses of disaster risk reduction. We will recognize ourselves as people who offer help to others instead of people who receive help, and we will actively participate in volunteer activities that consider others. We will contribute to community development as member of the community through activities such as proposing actions for disaster risk reduction to the local community and national and local governments. 3. We will create. By utilizing our acquired knowledge and skills, we will create useful tools and systems for disaster risk reduction for all kinds of people. We will create global and regional networks of high school students to learn together and cooperate with each other so that we can live together with our friends in the world. We will make use of our wisdom and vitality as future leaders for disaster risk reduction. We will not only revitalize the development of local communities, but also contribute to making our cities and countries more resilient to hazards for the sake of ourselves and children in the future. While appreciating the blessing of nature and understanding the risks that nature sometimes brings out disasters, we will love and live with nature without fearing those risks. November 26, 2016, High School Student Summit on World Tsunami Awareness Day in Kuroshio.
Now, we wish to adopt the Kuroshio Declaration. If you agree, I ask for your big applause. Thank you very much. Now, the Kuroshio Declaration is adopted unanimously. Once again, could you welcome the declaration with applause? Thank you for your warm applause.
Now we close the High School Student Summit on World Tsunami Awareness Day in Kuroshio.
I'm so happy that we could finish this great summit successfully. I hope to see you someday.
It was the biggest event in my life. Thank you very much to everyone who have gave their time to make this summit successful. Thank you. We sincerely express our heartfelt gratitude to all participants. Thank you very much for your cooperation.
Attention please, representatives of each country, please come down onto the floor from the stage. Thank you.